Even though some people are unhappy, they try their best to make other people happy. It is true that people with such lofty aspirations are rarely met, but we should never forget that there are few such people in this world. A terrible prisoner who was going to be hanged in exactly 7 days was taken to another prison located in a distant area to be kept under strict security for those 7 days. The prisoner was blindfolded with a black cloth in the cold night with the pouring rain, so he could not see anything around him until he entered the cage. The prison officials pushed the inmate into a high-security cell and left. In the dark prison, which was made of huge stones according to an old architectural model, the man started to think a little about the remaining 7 days of his life. "How is my friend?" Suddenly, the prisoner in the other cage asked the new prisoner so lovingly. That extremely harsh male voice brought healing to the heart of the prisoner through the ears of another prisoner, like a dewdrop falling on a desert. So these two talked very openly about the past events of their lives throughout that night. "Do you know that there is a very small window in the cell called 001 that I am in? Because of that, I can barely see what is happening outside. I will tell you the details of what I see outside, and then you will not be lonely," said the old prisoner. "That's a great idea, my friend. I was imprisoned in these dark cells for 10 years because they named me a violent person. Because of that, I haven't seen what's going on outside in a while. Now I seem to forget what color the sky is," said the new prisoner as he wiped the tears from his eyes. He fell asleep that night, wondering how to spend the remaining 7 days of his life. The prisoner in room ZY01 woke up that morning and started telling the other prisoner beautifully what he could see from the small window in his cell. "My friend, it's about 7 in the morning. Little children are going to school holding their mother's hands. A father is riding with all 3 children on a bicycle. Ah, I see 2 naughty boys fighting to grab something. I think those guys are fighting over a mango." The prisoner began to tell the other prisoner details about what he could see from the small window in his cell in a way that created mental images. The new prisoner who was going to die in another 7 days had nothing left to do, so he closed his eyes and enjoyed the scenes with passion. "Friend, what do you see now?" The next night, the new prisoner asked the other prisoner in the next cell. "Today is a Poya day, so the moon has shone well. The whole province is bathed in moonlight. The distant mountain ranges are like a shining painting because the moonlight has fallen." The prisoner began to explain more and more about the moon and the shadows cast across the moonlit surroundings, which the new prisoner listened to and enjoyed very eagerly. 2 days passed like this, but he didn't feel it. He felt that he had the opportunity to enjoy many things that he had not enjoyed all lifetime. "My friend, it's drizzling outside now. I can barely see the young couple walking under a blue umbrella with their locked hands in love. The girl is wearing a white and yellow dress. It makes her look like a peach flower. The boy seems to love that beautiful girl very much. I also remember when I was in love with him when I was young, but I don't know where he is now." Another day, the old prisoner began to tell more beautiful things based on what he saw. He had an amazing ability to describe events, all day long. 5 days went by without knowing what was going on outside, so the prisoner felt that he was going to die in 2 days. But now, the prisoner's mind has changed a lot. Instead of a burden, there is only a lightness like the wind in his mind. Therefore, he is not afraid of death anymore. Another day. On the following day, he was ready to leave this world. But on the 6th day, he did not hear a word from the prisoner in the other cell, so he asked a Bandhanaga Dara official about it. "Sorry to say, he hanged this morning," said the prison officer in a gentle tone. "But sir, he didn't tell me anything about it." "Sir, can I show him to the cell?" The prisoner cried and made a request. "Why?" "He told me that there is a small window in the Zabawo 1 cell. I also like to live watching the light in the remaining 2 days of living in that window." He beautifully described to me what he had seen through that little window in the past few days. I didn't feel that time passed because of it. He said beautiful things to me to live without dying. It was a great strength, sir. When the prisoner said that, tears quickly fell from the corner of the prison officer's eyes. "Sir, why are you crying?" asked the prisoner. "He has not been able to see for 10 years now, and there is no window in that cell, as you say. It is the darkest and dirtiest cell in this prison. He has lied to comfort you. He makes everyone mind who is brought to this cell. It is his how. After all, he had done something good before he died." The prisoner, who could not believe what the prison officer said at once, began to imagine in his mind what the face of his strange friend, who approached him only with a deep voice, must have looked like. No other human image could be imagined in his mind, and he strongly felt that he was like a god. Why did he do that, sir? There are people like that in this world too. They deeply absorb sorrow and distribute happiness to others. "They are like trees," said the prison officer, comforting the prisoner. "So many singers who tout the hearts of fans with emotional songs do not even listen to their songs. That is the real truth. Many beautiful girlfriends on the silver screen have lost the love of a lifetime. Some of the handsome movie actors who dance holding the hands of beautiful, beautiful girls are eternally sad because of the loss of love." Beethoven's most beautiful music was created when he was completely deaf. At the end of every opera, he barely not heard the cheers of the fans. That's why at the end of every opera, without turning towards the stage, he bowed his head to the ground and sat in deep thought for a long time. It is finished. But in the short time that Beethoven lived with his heart longing for death, the great music that lasts through the ages is lovingly terrifying for people. J.K. Rowling's extremely popular novel Harry Potter is not written to express her happiness. After her husband left her and she was alone with the little child, every time she thought of dying, she started writing strange stories to divert that terrible thought. As a result, Harry Potter, the new story that has been read by the largest number of people in the world until then, is born. They and many others absorbed sorrow and distributed happiness to others.